Hello and welcome to another beautiful episode of Softline. I'm Nancy Banigo, and as usual on Tuesdays I have with me Eddie Jong. Hey, Eddie, how are you?
Why the rising and falling of the tone?
Always dramatic. Try to make it a bit dramatic, you know.
Yeah. Hello everyone, nice to have you on Softline. And it's always our pleasure to know that you are out there watching us. Today wouldn't be an exception as we'll come your way with an interesting topic. So just stay there.
Yeah. So Eddie, after we left yesterday, I saw more videos of mothers feeding their babies alcohol. I thought we'd bring this back and really talk about it, you know. And then I went, watching the video is never complete except you go to the comment section.
Yeah.
In fact, that is where the whole drama is, the comment section. So when I went to the comment section, I now discovered that it is not a today thing. No. As in, this has been ongoing. So many persons come with explanation like it's quite medicinal. Yeah, even though it's not, you cannot justify that action at all. But when people begin to have a particular mindset about something, it's hard to change it. Except we begin to talk about the negative impact of this action. So many persons will not learn. No. And they mentioned places like Calabar, where the weather Obudu, yeah, okay. Obudu. They say when you go there, that is like a norm, like that is what they do.
Because of the weather.
Because of the weather. Yeah. So the alcohol does not, there's no age limit for it or anything. Just give to the children and all that. I was like, wow.
Yes, I know it has a way of warming one up, generating heat, But for me, like that particular comment stated, it could be their culture because of their weather. But how do you relate with someone maybe here in Akwa Ibom, where our own climate is not as cold as that
is that even an excuse to give a child alcohol, even if the child is that cold?
It's not an excuse, but when we look at the cultural practices, you can excuse that, something that has been from time forever. The generations have been born to see that this is their practice. But for me, copying that is where I am bothered. Like bringing it back home to where it's not really necessary. So, some people, yes, I think we talked about it. There are things you shouldn't imbibe just because the social media is presenting it or you've been there. You should see what you take home, what you practice, what you feel, okay, I think I can do this. Yeah, because the people at Obudu do it doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah, I think we should just consider ignorance.
Yeah,
there might be ignorance of the impact of this on those children, on those babies. Now, just take a look at what this baby.
And she's licking
her mouth, and she's just enjoying the whole thing. And this way the baby is reacting, the way the baby is enjoying the thing, it's obvious this is not the first time this is happening.
So for me, like I said, my concern is in that particular brand. Given the adulteration. Now, if it were the local gin, maybe I wouldn't frown. Because,
locally produced.
Local gin, like
make it mild for babies or something.
No, they won't even make it mild, but the raw gin, that I know can be used for. Because for traditional medicine people, they use that for treatment. There are some herbs they infuse it into, and then you take it as medication. And then you can also take it for particular treatment, like let's say it's medicinal, depending on, some people will even quote the Bible that you're supposed to take hot drink for tummy upset.
So I grew up with my grandmother. That was her trick. She's always telling her that's the only excuse she has to take alcohol. She tells you
that she's having tummy upset.
And then you can't see an old woman crying and then you ask her not to take the alcohol. And the moment she takes it, she's fine.
So I think it's wired to your mindset. If you believe that works for you, once you take it, it works. Because I've actually seen someone where got ill and They were like, you'll be fine.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
And the person insisted on taking medication. And guess what? I think it was even chalk powder they grinded and gave as like it's paracetamol. And she was fine. So crying out loud, what did you take?
Yeah.
So I think it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
Living the cultural practice.
But I think we'll have to get a doctor to tell us the implications. Because of course I know this will go a long way to damage the liver.
Exactly, and I don't want to mention that brand, you know. I don't want to, so that it doesn't, but that particular brand, it's obvious, you know.
So be the brand.
No, but you could see it now.
So what do you know about the brand? That means you're a customer.
Okay, no, but as an adult, I wouldn't deny not taking it, you know. But then, I don't know, I don't indulge. Okay. So we must be realistic. And again, for me to frown at it, like that's to say that I have desisted from taking it because of the information we have now.
Even as an adult.
Exactly. When we know that there are a lot of people are even refraining from taking these things because of the adulteration.
No, I think we should hit more on this so that advocacy to stop the sales of all this sachet alcohol should be stronger now. We have a more reason to advocate for the ban of this alcohol. You know, there was a time NAFDAC stopped all this. I don't know, from nowhere they just started, they lifted the ban and allow people continue this business. But this is
even when they stopped it, trust Nigerians, the business was still on.
So what happens when the things we value the most, like love, intimacy, connections, you know, become things we can purchase or acquire like commodity? In a world where relationships are increasingly transactional and affection can be bought, do we risk losing the very essence of what makes us human? Well, great question there. So joining us today is an author, a pastor, a wife, and the mother of 3 adorable daughters, and also a lecturer at the University of Uyo, Dr. Aniebiet Unwana Mbebe. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Akwa Ibom State University.
Akwa Ibom State University. Okay. Doctor, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Nancy. You're looking good.
Thank you. You too.
Welcome.
Ever yours.
Nice to be on site with you today.
So pleased to meet you.
All right, so doctor, let's delve into this wonderful discussion. The moment you heard love for sale, what came to your mind?
Love for sale. Is love now for sale?
Oh my goodness.
How much is love? How much
are you willing to pay for the love? How much are you
willing to pay for the love? And you see, we live in very interesting times. This wouldn't have been a topic maybe some 100 years ago. I mean, love was love, money was money. They had little or nothing in common. But now the lines have been so blurred that a lot of transactional relationships are ongoing. And when we look at it holistically, it paints more of a picture of pain for our society than a blessing. So it's something we should actually take a look at to provide more information and education. Because we feel, oh, love does not need education. No, love needs education. I wrote a book alongside my husband in 2022 on love goes to school. So before you sell your love, school your love, so you know the price tag you put on it.
Love goes to school.
Love goes to school. What an interesting
nice to
topic,
hear
I
that,
tell
honestly.
you. I feel like I should read
I remember when they said love was blind. Love is no more blind now.
No, marriage is the eye opener.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. So the society has turned something else. You know, when we open the social media, we listen to people talk about this thing. You begin to wonder, where were you? As in back in the days, you know, where people could just write a love letter and, you know, just buy you a little flower, and it goes a long way to make you to begin to think about it. But now you see a lot of young girls coming out on social media, and this, even the influencers that, you know, a lot of young people are looking up to, they are the one championing this whole transactional thing. You know, they come out and tell you, if he doesn't have this, don't accept him. If he doesn't have this, don't accept him. So where do we draw the line? What is actually
what went wrong? At what point?
What went wrong? Yeah, exactly.
Did this narrative change?
Okay, so you see, the problem of society has always been us trying to move from one extreme and they're not finding a balance, moving right to the other extreme. So the things that we would complain about, oh, it's not nice to just be in love, and at the end of the day you're being taken for granted, your love is not being reciprocated. Maybe you patiently waited for someone to grow with the person, and then the person now makes it and abandons you, and all of that, does not remember your sacrifices. We say, oh, that's so bad, that's so terrible. So we move from there to the point where we get to, oh yeah, what are you bringing to the table? Okay, where are you now? What do you have to offer me? If you don't give me, if it's not this for that, no. Relationships are not supposed to be built for commercial purposes, so to speak. It is not business. It is building for mutual fulfillment. Because if you are transactional in your relationship, there's a tendency you will not be transformational. You will not be transformational. It will be give to get and get to give. And if we take hold on that philosophy as our driving force, what will happen is that there's going to be a lot of deception, and it's happening already. A lot of deception, a lot of appearance versus reality. So you see someone appearing nice, buying you flowers, giving you gifts, but the person can actually, use something and smash the person's head because the love is not genuine. I was just giving you money and time to get attention and companionship. You're not the best from my emotions. I don't have that connection. There's no depth in that relationship. What we have is surface building, surface building. And you can imagine this entire building to be put on something that is flat as money. Money, this one can have, this one can have. Or time, this one may have, this one may have. So once we don't look into the authenticity of our being, love is not just an emotion. Love is a persona. It is a personality. It's the reality of who you are. So you dig deep and build that connection, that fondness, that friendship, that ability to take care of, to be there for someone through thick and thin. In fact, our vows have changed. We no longer vow for better, for worse. We vow for good, for better, for the best. Hopefully it works. But what if there is a challenge on the way? Does it mean that you're going to abandon this so-called love interest? Because ideally it's not just a love interest anymore. It has become a money interest or any other thing interest apart from love. So we live in a world where we need this love, we need these connections, we need this true friendship. Even the people transacting, when it matters most, they need the feeling. They need that being there for.
But talking about the people who do the transaction just took my mind to dating apps. Now, how do you think social media and this dating app has changed the way we see relationships and dating?
Relationships have become .com, 2 seconds, instant. So we summarize everything. You would have needed 3 months, 6 months. We get to know. How do we get to know? We sit down and talk. We don't feel forms for love. Time reveals essence. Time reveals, situations reveal. Oh, the depth of one's anger, the depth of one's patience, the ability to adjust, and all of that. So you know who you're going out with and in with to marriage ultimately. But now, such things you just click, you see the pictures that are edited, filtered, sandpapered, generated. And at the end of the day, you fall in love with an appearance, but the reality is the monster behind that look. And see, when love knocks deeper, what is under the surface will emerge. That's what you deal with. We see, oh, this one kills the other one, divorce here, that.
So I think we need to deal with some foundational issue here, which has to do with disappointment. Because I'm sure this is the bedrock of all of this. For people who have encountered several disappointments, heartbreaks, they've given their all. At one point, it may not even be once. So for a repeated occurrence, something that has happened over time, not once, not twice, that person, that human being, definitely will have a different perspective.
So Nancy said something about giving. You said something about giving your all. Earlier on, she mentioned something about boundaries and balance. At what point do you give your all? So we need love education.
Okay.
Yes, we need to continue these conversations and drive these narratives that as you are coming up and into this arena of meeting people and becoming friends and finding love, that there is a portion that you should withhold. There's a portion of you, your heart, your love, your information that should be withheld and should only be given on trust basis. On trust basis. That's not to say that maybe something doesn't happen to trusted relationships, but at least you're not going to be so shattered. And then if something happens in a relationship, please don't just say, oh, I am falling in love, and then no, walk in love. In fact, the Bible says walk in love, so that if something happens here, you can walk out. Your safety is guaranteed. You're not falling in a way that you can be trampled on. You know, the smoke has entered your eye. You can't even find your way out of it. So that when you leave that place, you should pick lessons up. You should take up lessons. What did I give? Did I overshare information? What did I do? Was I too vulnerable to this person? Did I give my time or my energy or my money or my body too in a hurry? Is that what made this person take me for granted? So if we have all these indices checked in the one we are just coming out from, and we heal, we don't love on the rebound.
Exactly.
We heal. You take time to heal. It teaches you patience. But if this doesn't work, tomorrow I date another one. I click another link. I enter another site. In fact, this site, I'm done with this one, and I enter another one. So we just enter into groovy relationships that are not deep. And for what it is worth, the essence of building families would demand for deeper relationships. So it's not just, oh, it's a love thing for love thing's sake. No, the society hinges on this very love thing. I tell people that care to listen, I say your love begins as a personal matter, but it is not private. Because your personal love life affects the entire society in the long run. It affects an entire generation. The children it can produce or not produce, the people it can build or destroy. It's a whole big deal. We owe our world this foundational build-up to construct formidable relationships.
So at what point do we draw the line between love and infatuation? Because I think a lot of people mix, from the narrative we're heading now, I think there is a mix-up. So people may not understand when they're being infatuated and when they're being in love.
It's a generational thing. It's much more now than ever before. There's a lot of other things flying on the wings of love. That is not love. You know, lust flying, infatuation flying, you know, just flings flying, everything shallow, you know. But love, you know, if I want to preach love now, I don't preach it. The real love does not seem butterfly. It's not a feeling. Love is a decision that you are going to consistently program kind actions towards another human being. Consistent kind actions. So love is that responsibility that we take on ourselves, that regarding this person A or this person B, that I'm entering into this form of relationship with, and every relationship should be defined. Yes, because if you don't define your relationship, that relationship can destroy you. It can destroy you by giving you over expectation.
Exactly.
And your time is wasted and your destiny is truncated just because you were not smart enough. You didn't have the emotional intelligence to define your relationship at its foundations.
Yeah, but then with the way you're talking, that means you don't believe in love at first sight?
No, I don't believe in love at first sight. I believe in admiration at first sight.
I think that's the right word.
Yes.
Admiration.
I can admire you at first sight, but for me to take a decision that I will always consistently dole out kind actions your way, I should have taken another look. It's very intentional. It's not a flimsy thing. Oh, I love you. We just wake up, you just say, oh, love you. I love you plenty, love you much.
I love you much more. I love you more.
I love you more. That's where I think that's where a lot of people have missed.
So it's not about a feeling. You see those butterflies that are doing you jiggy jiggy jiggy. By the time you enter into 5 years in marriage, if you have 2.5 butterflies left, then you are very, very strong.
Now let's talk about, we're talking about transactional love, love for sale and all that. This is the 21st century. Let's not kid ourselves. We understand what is happening. Lots of persons are, tilting towards this side of love, money. There was a time it even trended so much, like 50-50 thing. What are you bringing to the table? So it's all about business. So is there a way that the both sides can cohabit, like, having love and also the business part of it?
I don't understand when we say, see, we can't trade one for the other, but in one you can have all.
Okay.
Yes. Once the foundation of a place or a building is destroyed, whatever you're bringing on, it can either stand or crumble. Because foundationally, don't lay the foundation of your love and your heart on transaction. Then you hope to build love into it. Because even that love will query your foundation. You will be feeling a guilt that I didn't come here to love, my dear. Open your eyes. You came here to collect things. Even the person that admitted you is like you brought a WAEC result for admission that admitted you in on the terms that it's okay for transaction, and you come and change the way your language, you will be a suspect. So which one is the safer one for us to operate as a people? Is to be a people of love. In love, you can transact. Yes, but if you bring transaction as the main, and then you now want to build love on it, it is erroneous.
Exactly.
Because you can love, you can give without loving, but you can never love without giving.
Absolutely.
You cannot. So it is better, I know that as I'm giving to you, I am giving to you out of love, than for me to still give to you, but with clear eye that this thing, there's no love inside. There are no emotions. There are no strong emotions inside. Okay. I just want this for what I can get. So it means if along the lines anything happens to that partner, the other person can bounce or can walk. Okay. So what was the commitment? It's so weak. It's very, very weak. A lady, in this scenario, she said, oh no, I can't get married to that guy because I went to his house the other day and I counted he does not have up to 5 pairs of shoes. So she left him and went and got married to someone she felt was better than him. 3 years down the line, something happens to this person she got married to, her husband's job, and he was out of job. Meanwhile, this other guy just had a very big contract in Abuja and was driving past her, had to give her a lift. How his family, she was crying in shame because this person truly liked her, but she was busy counting shoes.
Yeah, looking at the material.
So like I said, any love that is transactional will not transform. It will not transform. That other person, he embraced his transformational journey, but she was busy, just counting what her physical eyes could see. Love is so deep, you can't see with your optical eyes. So if we do that, we limit ourselves, we undermine our souls, and then ultimately, we make light the essence of our spirits. It should not be encouraged.
I think, I just wish we'll have enough time to really talk on this, because you're coming in with some deep insights into
perspective into it. So we're still discussing love for sale, and we have Dr. Mbebe in the studio with us. But before we continue, let's take some few tweets from the socials. I'll have our very first tweet here from Maureen. She said, the idea of spending money on a woman so you can be liked or loved is a scam. Genuine love and affection can't be bought. Okay. Then the next one says, there is nothing like genuine love or affection. Women's description of love is money. So yes, spending money on a woman is a sign of love to most women, including you. Oh my goodness. All right, so this one says, sis, a man who loves you would naturally want to feed you, take you out, call you, text you, buy you flowers, and treat you like a priority. If he's not doing these things, then he doesn't care about you. Believe me, a man will always act right for a girl he really wants. And the next one from Sir Dixon, he says, you can't use money to buy love. Buying love is an oxymoron. But you can buy someone to be with you, which is what many of you are doing. But love can't be paid for. Okay, he goes down there to say, if you are paying, it is not love, it is business. A relationship that exists only to the extent of financial commitment. All right, talking about financial commitment, you know, that takes us to the story I read earlier on about a girl who collected transportation. I heard her burial was done a few hours ago. You know, she collected 9,000 naira to go visit her boyfriend, and then she called and said she wasn't going to come. And the guy said, okay, return my money. And she said no. Then few hours later or days, the guy said, I have gone to report you to ROC, as in the gods, kind of, and they have sent something your way. So, but she called it a bluff, and then she didn't do anything. Not until she came down with some form of skin disease, and the skin disease was so rapid that just as if it was real. You know, some could say it's a lie. Probably she had that before, but the way it came, it's as if it was true.
Connected.
Yeah, and somehow she died.
That's a transactional relationship.
You know, she died.
It's very sad, but it may be connected, it may be unconnected, but the bottom line is, whenever a relationship is not based on the beauty and the virtuousness of love, those are the kind of things you can get. You can get thunder, you can get lightning, skin rashes, anything can come your way, because what is not good would tend to be evil. So we need to push this conversation further, because anyone that thinks that anything that has to do with love, marriage, relation is just, it's just one of those things, I can toy with it and go away with it. No, life begins there, and many lives are destroyed on the altar of love. So we need to look at it very critically.
Now, this is quite serious, because so many people have collected this, have done this kind of things in the past. You know, where you collect transport, that you're going to visit someone and you end up not going. But if the person actually loves you, should that be a problem?
You see, lies, deceit. We are looking at vices. Those are the kind of things that you will find in transactional relationships, because honesty, truth, empathy, compassion, even on the part of the person whose money was being collected. If the person had genuine love, why would you go and call the gods of the land to send evil package the way of someone you loved? No, you are more business conscious. In that person's mind, he has been swindled. So he owns the right to send such evil the way of the other person. So it's not lovely. It's not good.
So at this point, you know, I also want to understand, I know there was a time this was very common. People getting transport and never turning up. And there was a time it was rumored, I think it was also on the social media, such a case went to court. And the lady was fined. But my own is, this is part of moral decadence in a society and society influence. So what would you suggest have made the women folk degenerate to where, because that, until we solve that, for me, until I'm able to solve that puzzle, the decadence, like where did we get it wrong? Because looking back, you realize that people loved for who the person were. And so it didn't really matter who you were. You may not have had anything, but you'll see a woman well educated, getting married and loving someone who wasn't educated, and it was real, genuine love.
There is no because in love. Anytime you find anything because, love has left that room.
So love should be blind, deaf, and dumb.
Love is all seeing, all hearing, all doing. It does not need to be blind. But there's no because. Once you start saying because of the education, because of the start, because of, you have removed love. Love is no respecter of persons. It can just sweep you into a room that you didn't believe you could occupy. So that being sorted now, I believe that it's because of how reciprocity. If you give and nothing is given to you in return, it's not encouraging. So you will find out that those mothers that used to tell their daughters, oh no, we married for love, oh, we married out of love. At the end of that marriage, she would have learned by reason of what she was taught that you did wrong. And so she now coming to advise the next generation, you hear things like, if the man does not have a house, does not have a car, does not have a cow, does not have, don't go in there, you are going to suffer. And I didn't give birth to anything that came to suffer. So I believe that it is in the process of evolution that we have now become entitled. So if he does not give you transportation, don't go there. And sometimes you can even collect the transport, block him. You see? So we have now evolved into what is not good.
Like people no longer value emotion.
Value genuine friendship. I can't remember, why would I get transport from my friend for coming? No. I'm not getting any, it's not even in my awareness. Oh, when are we meeting? We are meeting so day or time. Okay, I will find a way to. I'm looking forward to the meeting so much that at the meeting, nothing else, whether it is Coke, groundnut that is served you, it's so interesting. The conversation, the fun, the jokes, the laughter, the genuine friendship built. So at the end of the day, you find out that that friend is also responsible enough to say, oh, how did you come? How are you going? No, let me pay your way back. Okay, have this. So that way, that love is being funded. And I heard from one of those tweets, they say, oh, if he does not give you this, when you give to a woman, give to. So does it mean that women are collectors? That women don't give?
Women give. Women give.
It's an insult to women. There are millions of women that are so generous and loving and kind, me inclusive.
Exactly. I agree with you completely.
If love is not mutual, it will not be interesting. There has to be that essence of mutuality. A give and take and give and take. It has to be, there has to be a flow. Once we advise one side to take a stand to be collectors, or we advise the other way to take a stand to be the givers, then we are going to break the code of love.
All right, so as we are drawing closer to the end of this discussion, there's always not enough time for us to do this. So what do you think is the effect of this commodification of love? Because the way it's going now,
it's going. My sister, it is going.
So, what do you think is going to happen in the nearest future?
First, what I should advise is we should learn not to commodify. Don't commodify love. Love is too precious. It's too precious. What price would you put on it? It's like the human life. What price would you put on it? You can't do that. It will be too cheap. So what do? Let's operate in genuineness, in real kindness, in looking into each other's eyes with affection. You cannot have and not give. Absolutely. You don't need to be billed and taxed. You are not the government.
Yeah, I agree, but a narrative just came up. How do we deal with people, we're talking about two opposite sex now, and then maybe this one is expressing love through gifts and all of that, and you are also maybe not tuned to, because you don't like the person, you're not attracted, and you have made it clear that, look, I don't like you enough, but this person is still.
No, don't aim to buy someone with money. And don't transact like that, because if you if the cards are clear, you are not being wanted. You want to lean over too much to give, to impress. At the end of the day, the person is not impressed. Exactly. So you lose at the end of the day and you cry wolf. So let's stay within the confines of kindness, goodness, faithfulness, temperance, self-control. We need to show each other genuine love, friendships, kindnesses. Please, we don't need people that you will give, every time your hand is always on the side of, you know, collecting, and you don't feel that it is good also, you know, to give. It is a wrong mindset. Let's teach our children so. Let's practice same. Let's share this love and let it go around to do us a world of good.
I think I agree with you.
But then even you are agreeing, we should not forget the fact that whether we like it or not, transactional love.
No, I said it. Right? I said you can give without loving, but you can never love properly without giving.
All right. So now the definition of proper love is relative in this case, I tell you, because I have seen a relationship that they are heading to 40 years in marriage, and they started transactionally, where the man was, I do this work, I'm a real worker, I work in so place, and she was a teacher, and then she was bringing a quota. In fact, that was how they started. You bring, I bring, and that is how they've been doing it. And they gave themselves this freedom, like you can go ahead and explore in whatever area you want. And he goes ahead and he explores. Nobody is monitoring anybody. But they tell you, when they were asked, how did you people manage to live 40 years together? And they tell them, they were like, both of them were talking, that we have zeroed our mind, that this is our
longevity is not always that they are
fun. They're happy in the marriage.
You may be long together, you may stay together, but you may not be happy together.
Marriage.
Yes,
that was why I said it's relative. So
you may even be successful without being fulfilled.
So in their own case now, why I'm bringing this up is that we can't rule out the fact that there are still transactional love. So how
it should be minimized.
Okay,
it should be minimized.
Why are you so holding on to the transactional thing?
Because I've seen a lot.
I agree with you, but I think it's time we advocate for a change. But like I said,
but you mentioned of people who stayed with someone, because this thing is both way, right? Both for men.
And I am in the middle, striking for a balance.
Both for men and for women. So we are not talking about just women in this case, right? Now, when we started, I heard you when you said this thing was born out of disappointment. Now you see someone whom you love, you feel, oh, I can have a future with this person, and you stayed with that person, and the moment that person makes it, he now sees you clearly that, oh, no,
you are not
you
what
no longer. So that is still going to happen. It's not like
she said something. She said something which I think people ignore. That when that happens, you need to heal. Before you move on. So I think that gap, people don't heal
before they enter into another relationship.
Because once you heal, tendencies are that you would learn your lessons, and then in your next relationship you will be properly guided. You will know what you want, and you'll definitely go for what you want this time around, not just going to explore. So if what is coming doesn't present itself like what you want, I'm not sure you would give it a thing. So I feel that's what we should preach to people. Don't be in a hurry to get into another relationship. When once you're heartbroken or you've been dissed, heal.
Heal first.
No matter how long it will take you to heal before, because if you don't heal, tendencies are that you will go pay
the next person.
Exactly. So how can an innocent person come and be receiving the blows of the hurt from another person?
I think we should also table this to mothers who tell their daughters, don't do like me, I am here suffering, so they have already given the mindset perspective, So now this girl is growing up with the mindset that if you don't have money, you can't come.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
So we have a whole lot to advocate.
You're not talking English, you're not saying anything.
Love gets death at that time.
I tell you. So we have a whole lot to, decluster from our mindset.
Exactly.
We have a whole lot. But just give us some,
pattern.
Talk to us.
Love is beautiful. Love is kind. We need love. We need to build that intimacy. that bond of greatness together, helping each other to grow, and in the most affectionate way. We also need to curate our love as legacies to the next generation. We need to talk to people. It's not just enough to just throw words around or feel a certain way or pick up lessons as we grow. We owe the next generation that body of knowledge of balance.
Okay.
Yes, how to know where to draw the line. How to know that you're not being taken for granted. How to know, how to apply yourself to also make money, so that you're not a beggar or a permanent receiver in liability. A liability in the relationship. How to become an asset too. Okay, so that you can also have what to offer. When you have what to offer, you make a good standing to be able to receive. And when that symbiotic relationship is being established, then I trust that our relationship will be healthy, our marriages will be beautiful, our families will be healthier for it, and we will have less cases of divorce, of losing young women.
Domestic violence.
Losing young women to, somebody just puts a call across, oh, come over here, I'll send you so money, in the hope of just receiving. Somebody loses a precious life. So we owe the next generation.
Now, what do you talk about men who say they can't marry a woman who doesn't have anything to offer?
Every human being has what to offer.
No, they monetize
in monetary terms. Personally, when I got married, I was not working like that. I was a work in progress, okay? Because I was still schooling. Those were my learning years. And this marriage is supposed to last a lifetime. I've entered into the earning years, and it is still benefiting this marriage. So if you say you don't want to get married to somebody at this stage, are you blind to all the other possibilities in that person's life? Or at this point, have you already concluded on that life at age 25 or at age 27? This is all that she can be, so I can't get married to
those young men who are always saying, what do you bring? It's a
wrong mindset to have.
What do you bring to the table? I can't marry a woman who is broke. The person's
character is pugnant. The person's character is... There are so many opportunities that both of you can explore.
Nobody knows tomorrow.
And you need to have faith in your partner. If you don't believe in your partner, you will have war in your marriage, because even if you go and get somebody that has something right now, what is the guarantee for the next 10 years, next 20 years, next 30, 50 years? So I feel we should strike for that balance, and at the end of the day, our relationships will be happier and healthier for it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wede. I like your perspective about this whole thing.
Thank you.
Give us your perspective in just 1 minute.
Honestly,
it's
an interesting topic, and I think it's an advocacy we should keep carrying on as much as we can. If you ask me, love is a beautiful thing. We shouldn't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted.
We shouldn't get it twisted, Love is a beautiful thing. But maybe if you want to be adventurous, don't go headlong trying to, buy love. Like one of the tweets said, you can't buy love, but you can buy the being. So if you want to sell yourself, I don't encourage you to, but don't do that and then forget yourself. Get into it, hook, line, and sinker. Maybe for adventure's sake, so that you have what stories to tell for those, because I'm that plain. I encourage, I won't tell you, no. Try to explore life, live life, and let life, and allow life, happen to you. But then, love conquers all. Love is the ultimate. And like Doctor have said, the characteristics of love remain germane. It's true. It defends. Love is all encompassing.
All right, Eddie, we've come to your department, love, right?
No, you asked that. We could go on and on and have another episode.
I just pitched you a little and you have gone all out. All right, so as we conclude the discussion, one thing remains certain, the question we rather ask is whether love can truly be bought or sold remains a complex and multifaceted. So as we end this show today with our doctor, with all she had said, I hope you've been able to grab one or two things. I just don't want to give Eddie more time because I just remembered some things now, but let's just go. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today from all of us in the studio. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Eddie.